I'm gonna kick you in your bionic leg.
Yeah. I learned to stay strong.
My son's gonna weaponize it.
Know how to put in work. Grinding all day, you know it's game on.
Game on.
It gets tough. Running, yeah, we stay alive. Ain't gotta look nowhere else. All of this greatness
Man, let me tell you, kid. Hey,
We didn't give any dogs cocaine. All that was
episode
a product of
24.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to try to explain this. I tell you what, hit the button that takes you to the guy that was the first. It's him. And it'll just explain it, right? It was the best I ever introed him. He said, I'm not going to try to beat it.
No.
Nope.
What is your
value? Yeah, I like that. I'm here with a local businessman. You have heard his voice all over. You don't know it. I promise you, because I don't peg him off. Dave, you've seen him on TV in many different ways. He works in a lot of nonprofits locally. Over 40 years now. Mr. Al Emerick, the founder and CEO of Value Mapping.
Brett, I've known you.
And we know where he goes with that. This is our first repeat guest on
honored.
All About the Grind. No, I am honored. Mr. Al Emerick of Value Mapping.
Well, thank you.
.com.
You know what's really cool is
Yes,
this
sir.
is number 24, and 24 is my favorite number.
No coincidences in my world, huh, Dave?
No, not at all.
And I am assuming that my being the first repeat guest, there's one of three criteria that occurred. The original number 24 was hit by a bread truck. Brett got sued and decided he needed a replacement for that reason, or you were just
I need some money.
or you were bored, decided just to do an episode, and it's like, I know Al's good for it, so I'll bring him aboard.
None of the above, sir.
Yes.
Listen, the title of this episode, which I still don't know to this very second, is called Repeat. And I'll explain in a second.
First of all, can we just say, wow, that was really loud. Can we just say that to get to this many episodes, I mean, for those that are watching, listening, viewing, whatever you do, sustainability in a podcast is kind of benchmarked at around, I think, 23 to 25 episodes.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's kind of like if you're considered a serious podcaster when you get to about 20. I mean, think about it. Who does anything? I mean, who does 25 times?
Hey,
You know?
let me tell you.
I don't want to know.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
I knew, but I don't want to
Yeah,
know.
okay.
But no, seriously, I mean, that's kind of like that window. So,
Let's
bro,
go backwards. 54, 53, 52, 51,
I mean, it's
50.
5 months.
for you to get,
Well, thank you.
For you to get to that many, you guys should be very proud of yourself.
Well, thank you. Thank you. In reality,
And to commemorate that,
I have core.
I have what is probably the most awkward thing to drink in the history of mankind. I love their water, but I feel like I'm eating a missile when I
Okay.
do this. It's like, hello, if you ever wanted to know where the U.S. Arsenal sits, it's in all of the Core drinking bottles. Core, the sponsor you don't have yet, but you should.
Hey, we will clip that moment and send it to Core. You even drank the right way. I mean, it was like bottle up, but label out. You're going to see that.
Well, Core, you need to put a handle on this.
Not a bad idea.
You need to put a handle because otherwise you squeeze the middle, and then at this size, the water just kind of.
That thing's bigger than the Stanley Cups that they have now.
I know, but listen,
Rory McIlroy, eat my shorts.
Right.
You may have the Masters
We're gonna
trophy.
get to him.
I've got this.
we're going to get to Rory. Rory, how do y'all say it?
Rory. I know it is a hard name
Rory.
to say, even if you're
Rory.
not
Okay.
intoxicated.
All right, listen. Black Mirror has a new season out.
Never even heard of it.
I've refused to watch that because I've heard too many people tell me the freaky versions of it, and I don't have any problem with scary shows and stuff like that. Not my biggest and highest use of my favorite time. However, I've heard that show scares me.
You know what? You know what's interesting is how similar we are, or how close we are. One of the episodes, like season 2, was you got graded by, you had a social grade, which is in China. China has, if you have, and I'll put some links up on the comments. if you have like an episode in a store and you're a jerk in China, they will you get demoted by whatever. I don't know. I've never been to China. And you're only allowed access to that percentage of your money in your bank.
Huh.
And so if you continue to be bad, you will have no access to your money.
They'll hold your money on you?
They don't hold nothing. They by their accounts, and this is anybody can Google this on any reputable news association. But by like if you're at 50%, which I think if you're at 50%, they've already cut a finger off or put you in jail. I would think. But let's say they let you get there and you had $100. Well, over there, $100 gets you bread and water and rice, and so you happy. And I'm not joking, in my opinion, by what I've seen. But you would only have 50. And, and so I mean,
what would your social grade be?
Oh my God, I would already be strung up. What are you talking? They're not going to take my money, and so I'd be dead in like day one. I would not be the idiot that stands in front of a tank and God bless that guy. God bless what he stood for. And Tiananmen, the square,
Tiananmen.
Thank you. He was going to let me hang just for a second there.
I figured if you had a hard time with Rory, Tiananmen was just going to blow your brains square off your head.
And speaking of that picture of that young man that got his head blown that stood, I wouldn't be that guy. I would be sniping your ass from the 3rd floor, 5th floor, down to the 6th, giving Bart 5 grenades and saying, go, Bart, go.
Never in the history of mankind has a Masters champion, core water.
Careful with the word.
Tiananmen Square.
Yes.
And social justice.
Yes.
And all in 3 minutes. Welcome to
all about the grind.
Repeat. Which, if we keep this up, nobody will watch this show on repeat. I'm just kidding.
Let me tell you something. The repeat word is an honor to me because probably my most precious words in life, and probably the 2 words that have saved my life. So maybe I should have used this as the title.
Okay.
I was rednecking it with repeat, just having fun, roughnecking it, whatever you want to call.
No, when you take your headphones off and you go mullet and you're redneck.
Yeah. The mullet's coming, man.
I know. I wish I could mullet. I can't. I mean, there's not a place on the earth that I could ever mullet again.
Actually, technically, but don't be that guy.
No.
Yeah.
No, if I had hair, and then when I did.
I think it'd grow in the back, though. With the right products?
No, not now. No. Because I had some sun cancer stuff, and then
that stuff's real.
Some other trauma. Actually, maybe I'll tell you that story. It's actually pretty funny. But anyway, there's nothing growing back there. That soil's been nubbed.
Yeah, I lost my place. Where was I?
You were talking about why you were doing repeat and not
the 2 most precious words that have helped me grow: focused repetition. You've heard it a million times.
Oh yeah.
And I, when I have headed down the wrong roads in life, it's been focused repetition. When I've headed down the right times, when it was time to gear up and how do I dig out of life changes and difficulties and obstacles, I didn't have time to think. So it required focused repetition. That was the repeat because and that's not an insult. I know you to be somebody who stands up quick. And I know me to be somebody who stands up quick, sees it coming, and goes, this one's going to hurt. Let's go.
Yeah.
I think that's the grind. And that is, so what an honor to be here with you and your time in your life. Change is coming, quality change, good change. Some hurt, some's good. And so let's touch a little bit and go where you want to go, man.
Well, I will say this.
Let's grind on it.
The last time I was here, it was the night before, and you may have heard it in the, it was the night before I was doing a stress test and all that. I was like, you want a shot? I'm like,
that's why we had the bottle of Woodford back there.
Would you like some water? I think I can do that.
Yeah.
Can't do coffee. And all that was good, which as a type 1 diabetic with a history of heart disease and all that, to check out is good. Because at this age, you start, well, we should have started thinking about it a while ago. But no, it's like, oh, wow, and I've always checked the temperature under the hood and made sure everything was
never
good.
did.
He doesn't. I did.
No,
I'm the same as you with diabetes and heart, and
Yep.
I just had my aortic valve replaced a month ago.
Got to do it. Yes.
Just saying, I mean, is there any correlation to those that pay so much attention that get it?
Oh, so you're saying that because we pay attention?
I'm asking if manifestation.
He's telling me. He tells me all the time.
That's what he's saying.
It's because I worry so much about it.
No, whoa, back up. It's not the whole like you have your leg cut off because you worry so much. I mean, no.
But about my health, you tell me to stop worrying.
No, your doctors will tell you.
Yeah.
Well, there's a difference between worrying and being vigilant. Like, I don't worry.
No, I know you're not. I mean, I remember when you found out.
I am proactive, but the difference is there's other things to be proactive about that I'm not. Like, I should be doing more calisthenic style, aerobic style stuff. That's just good for you anyway.
Yeah.
The more I do things that reduce my insulin requirement and utilization, the healthier I get.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, and there's actually, I wish I should know the name of it. There's actually a condition that when somebody first goes on an insulin pump, their management of their disease actually declines.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like being given a credit card when you don't have any money. You're like, oh, well, I don't have any money, but I can spend it. I'll just catch up with it later. With the insulin, it's like, oh, I can eat that piece of cake or I can do whatever. I'll just give myself more insulin.
Yeah, because it keeps pumping it into you.
But the thing is, the more you need insulin over time, it actually is bad for you. So anyway, this message brought to you by.
I love your freaking voice. I'm telling you, I got to have Gary Brecka's video pulled up next time. He says he can walk back diabetes, not like a Jesus Christ walk back diabetes.
Oh no, but
through fasting, through doing opposite of what they tell diabetics to do.
Well,
and
I mean,
I'm paraphrasing a little bit. I'll put another link.
Because
no, I'm telling you, I'll put another link that shows the Gary Breck on Instagram explaining it. I've watched because I love Dave and he's got type 2, so I bug him all the time.
Type 2 and type 1 are different. Like
and I don't know. So take a moment.
Type 2 diabetes, your body still produces a level of insulin that is required. Your body needs insulin. It's a driving force. Your body needs sugar. Your body needs cholesterol. Your body needs all those things. The question is in what doses and what's the dynamics of your body? Like, how does it process stuff? And it ain't like a car. A car works a certain way. You got to have the same things, but each car's different. You know, a Ford Mustang runs differently than a Hyundai Excel or whatever.
Yeah.
Bodies are this, same way. However, to the point that you need, if you're type 2 diabetic, you, depending on where you are in that scheme of your disease, you can reverse it. It is the only that I know of it's the only disease I know of where you can actually get off all the stuff, reverse it, and be free of it. And
so you can back up as well? I mean, do you believe that?
I'm a type 1 diabetic.
You're talking about type 2.
Type 1 and type 2, the difference is very rudimentarily this. Type 2, your body produces some insulin. Depending on where you are in that scale, what your body's doing, you can make changes in your lifestyle, your diet, your exercise, lose weight, do those things, and you will never need any medication.
But can you switch from type 2 to type 1, right?
Well, that's what... No, you don't switch. You become. So you can be a type 2 diabetic.
Listen, man, I don't mean to sound...
No.
I'm
Brett,
ignorant to it.
Brett, when I was first diagnosed...
I remember.
I did a walk for the American Diabetes Association, and I did a post.
Yeah.
My post was, and I was being sarcastic. I was like, well, I just found out I got a promotion. I was type 2 diabetic, originally diagnosed, but I'm actually now type 1. Woohoo! No joke. Smart, everyday, caring, loving people, friends of mine, posted, hey, Al, congratulations. That's awesome. Keep up the great work. Because they didn't know.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
They think you're getting better with one instead of 2.
Well, yeah, because one's better than 2.
Right.
So in this particular case,
closer to 0.
1 is your body produces no insulin. You have no pancreatic function that produces the required levels of insulin in your body that regulates your blood sugar.
So we just got to restart your pancreas.
Well, that's what an insulin pump does. But if you could come up, like in your store and in your crazy imagination, if you could restart and figure out how to create and I'm sure with I don't want to even go there because I won't know how to talk about it. But
I mean, this is a start as far brainstorming. If we started here,
actually, just use artificial intelligence. Just use AI.
Ask ChatGPT where the pancreas is. We'll start with that in the pencil, and we'll see where it ends up.
I don't know that pancreas. The closest pancreas and pencil are is if they begin with a P.
Can I reach it? Is it deeper than the pencil? That's all I need to
I'm
know.
glad we're not talking colonoscopy.
A little right turn on the colon. We go left, and boom, there's a pancreas. And if I come in on the eraser side and I don't lose it, can I touch it?
Do you remember that movie? What was that movie?
Oh no, my brain's running
now. They put people into the human body, and God, it was like in the 70s. Hey, you need to search that up and find that and put that in your show notes.
My dad, mom wouldn't allow us to have a TV in the 70s. The devil.
Whatever.
I'm not kidding.
You didn't have a TV in the 70s?
For 10 years.
They put bodies into people?
Yeah.
Well, it was a journey,
Nobody cares that I didn't have a TV, damn it.
No, I'm coming back, but the
okay,
man
thank
asked
you.
a question.
I'm going to write that down because I'll forget
He asks a question. You just ramble like a... You're like bed sheets in a hotel, man. Nobody ever knows if they get changed.
That's why I got a clipboard.
And they just keep getting used over and over again. So anyway,
10 years,
to ask
no TV.
Answer your question. It's like Journey to the Center, not the Center of the Earth. That was another movie. But it was like they injected these people into the human body to go.
Okay, whoa, I got you. When they went to the little people.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you. When they were accidentally made small, and yes, I do. And they had to live in the blood vessels.
Yes,
that was one of my favorite movies.
So here's the real question: since you never saw movies or TV in the, does that mean you don't know about the $6 Million Man, or you never saw?
Okay, no, I caught up.
You did.
I caught up. That's why to this
Were
day.
Were you a fan of the $6 Million Man? And but before you answer, your answer will determine whether or not I remain on this show.
I mean, absolutely.
Okay. Here's the next question.
No.
Okay, no. Shh.
Okay, I can do it.
Next question. All right. Don't do it until I tell you to go.
Okay. Damn.
All right. Ready. Here we go. So the question is,
stress.
What was the sound effect? Make the sound. Don't do it yet. Make the sound effect.
I'm already done. And I'm hitting the button.
Make the sound effect when the bionic powers were being used. Go. No, now you sound like some comedian named Shecky Green. No, you got to do it slowly, like. Yeah.
See, I was doing the song.
No, sounds like the opening riff if you run like helium to like some Queen song.
I hate Queen.
You hate Queen?
Yeah, mostly.
Oh boy.
Name a song I would like, Dave. I said hate's a strong word. Okay, hate's a strong word.
Queen, they're not some of the greatest anthems of all time. I mean, I know you like country.
Huh? I don't know. You'd have to pull one up and
We
play
Are the Champions?
Yeah, I mean, they were the champions.
So was the name of the movie you guys were talking about Fantastic Voyage?
That's it.
Yes.
Okay. It was from 1966.
Wow.
Okay.
I was born in 67.
So I caught that movie on a Saturday afternoon after football with 4 peanut butter and jellies and 3.
How do you remember that?
Because I always ate peanut butter and jellies and pack of crackers and a 32-ounce thing of milk. And my sister would make it for me. And when we finally got a TV back, I began to binge watch everything. Oh, and then I'd have 2 suckers.
I don't believe that you remember the moment you watched Fantastic Voyage.
No, I don't. I just know what I was doing when I watched it.
So it was a random Saturday or a
that
random
I was
day
eating
that you were eating 4
peanut sandwiches.
Which let's just talk
3
about.
packs of crackers, which was the whiter ones. Now I've gone to the cheese and a big 32-ounce glass of milk and a sucker with
By the way,
gum in the middle.
If you need a 32-ounce plus bottle of water, try Core.
I know what I was getting to.
How big is that thing?
It is 44 ounces.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's the hydration part.
Let's just read this on a second. Ready?
Go ahead.
Core hydration, perfectly balanced pH, purified water. Actually, that's too animated. It needs to be more robotic.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Core hydration, perfectly balanced pH, purified water. Electrolytes and minerals for taste. Okay. Water for taste. Water, taste, water, taste. I don't get that. All right. Let's
You were getting there.
I mean, I have where am I putting my glasses? Oh, well. Where are they?
I don't know.
I used to have
I'm still wondering why you have the wire going across your body with the earpiece. That doesn't bug you? I mean, you've been in this business forever.
I always wear the headphones in front of me.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah. I can't put them behind me.
Okay.
Makes me feel like I'm wearing
like it's pulling
like a rat tail or something.
Okay. All right.
Makes me feel like I got a mullet. By the way, no offense to anybody who wears a mullet, and no mullets were harmed in the filming of this show.
Well, one is being grown in honor of my son. I don't know why. I just decided. I mean, how old am I? I'm gonna start losing hair up front. Might as well grow it while I have a full head of hair.
You look like your son right now, or your son looks like you.
Yeah,
that's a good question. Do you look like your kids, or do your kids look like you?
So see, I don't. Okay, so he has mama's eyes, the blue eyes, and the. I mean, I don't see it as much, but everybody swears by
square
it.
jaw. Well, all your kids all look like. I mean, of course, kids look like their parents, but no, like legitimately strong features.
Yeah. If you saw Jaybird,
like I think Jacob looks more like Brett. Than
he does.
Zach does.
He does.
Yeah.
But if you saw Jaybird right now, I mean, he's because of Bam Bam is fit as a fiddle. He's not like I was. I mean, I was okay, but it was more just snatching furniture and throwing stuff around that got me in somewhat shape.
You were country boy strong.
Country boy strong, which is pretty strong.
Whereas those boys look country boy been in the gym.
Yeah. I mean, even when Zach tore his tendon off his bone, he was doing. You can go on. He was doing workouts with his arm
and using the left arm,
and he had to keep working out. He just got his stitches off. They cut it right on his tattoo. They did a great job.
Nice. I can relate to that. I had a small muscle tear in my pinky, and it was hard to carry a shot glass. Yep. So I worked those other fingers by carrying a mug.
A mug.
So I had a mug and a shot glass in both hands.
That's good.
And people just thought I was drinking. I'm like, no, man, I'm working out my hand. Come on, don't be shallow.
Double fisting.
Don't be shallow.
Whiskey Wednesdays.
That's right.
Yeah. So back to the child abuse. I did. I'm a middle child. We got to get back to this. I had 10 years, approximately, maybe 9.5, where God took our TV away, and we never replaced it.
God took so many TVs away.
I know. No, in reality, it was lightning, and so I had an AM radio. We made sure it wasn't FM because you could hear the devil music. So I didn't grow up with Queen. I mean, I would get like thank God for AC/DC and being able to dub the tapes back then. It just started. So I mean, I'd be out the window. You know, we had the roll-up window. Mom made sure you couldn't slide through. We're like, here, man, here's $5. Give me the tape. And you're like.
AM radio. I mean, now you're touching.
I got the George. That I used to listen to every Georgia Bulldogs game because of Munson, and
you could listen. AM radio is so great, especially at night when the waves were not. As,
oh my gosh, yes.
You'd like picking up Denmark. I remember being in St. Augustine, growing up in St. Augustine, and well, first of all, loved the Dr. Demento show. That was an age-old show, but that might have been in Phoenix, Arizona. Anyway. In St. Augustine, and I would pick up Detroit, and there was a comedy show that was out of Detroit.
Really?
Yeah. And
I never found that.
Yeah.
On AM?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, you had a good radio.
But it was random. No, dude, it's random. But depending on the winds, depending on depending on the weather, all that, you could really pick up some crazy stuff.
Time out.
What?
In Florida. The only thing I picked up on AM at the late night was, no joke, hand to God, was the Cubans talking on the radio, shortwave radios that were somehow getting into our radio. They're probably talking about bombing us.
But you probably didn't have the patience. See,
that's what I'm saying.
You had to have the patience. You had to go like
fine tune it.
Dial really close.
I don't know that I did that. I don't.
No, well, nobody. It was like we were kids. It was like I was a radio guy. I mean, my father was a first voice of M&M's, you know. I was like, it was born into my life. So anyway, all right.
No, I don't say anyway. I like where it was going. It was good.
Oh, it's going like we're an azimuth that is misspelled with ASS.
Not when you watch
going all over the place.
Oh no, you're right at where I wanted. We're at the we're at the 10 years.
Brett,
no
that
TV.
is Brett. That's like a parent coming up to their 16-year-old child who's doing laundry, and the parent says, "Do you know where this is in your laundry?" And the kid says, "Sure, I put it right over there." There's no chance.
Listen, there's absolutely.
There's no
I'm
chance.
walking you right where I want you. We were at Black Mirror. You didn't like it. We're about to walk into Rory.
Okay.
See? How'd you like that one?
Well, no, technically speaking, we were
because the 10 years.
So, what's been happening? And then we went into.
Okay, that's true.
Ladies
that
and
happened.
gentlemen, let's do a rewind.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, Al, how was the test? It was great. I'm healthy. Excellent. Super 5. Hey, listen, don't do this. Let's go ahead and create a pancreas with a pencil. Okay.
Okay, that happens.
That did happen.
No, it does.
It happens all the time.
I know. That's why I have 71 subscribers. By the way, if you are watching this today and you laugh even just a little bit, first off, go to church. Secondly, subscribe, like, share, comment. That engages the algorithm. Help me out. Help us reach people because it is fun, but there is a lot of seriousness that goes on as well because there is some growth that's coming in this conversation.
All right, you ready for this?
Yeah.
You talked about algorithm.
Yes.
Right? Ha ha ha. So talking about algorithms. This is one of those reminder moments about what really resonates in social media. So I do a lot of work on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Other mediums too, but most of my business stuff is on LinkedIn. And I've really stepped up recently because of the work I'm doing, a lot of the focus, and got a real amazing marketing person. But I did this post about this. It's completely true. It's the challenge of being named Al because Al looks like AI. And
that's true.
So I challenge anybody to sit there and go Google and look at pictures of AI, and it's like, oh, Al. So I did this post. It was like, hey, I got a real problem. You know, people always think, is it AI or Al? And I joke, I am artificially intelligent. Ha ha. But when I type information in my emails, I always go through, well, do I do A, lowercase I? Do I do, and so I put that out, right?
Right.
It's like the most engaged. I'm like talking about how you can change your life and find greater value, this stuff. And the next thing I know is it's like, yeah, you got 1,800 impressions and views and, 50 people engaging and giving me recommendations, which is great. And I thank you. I love that stuff. But it's funny. Now, again, it speaks to the stuff that people really want to talk about.
But how do you stay, how do you have fun on there without being offensive on LinkedIn? It's such a business page for me.
Well, first of all,
I don't engage enough on there.
You ask offensive because that's your lens. You want to challenge the norm. This show is about breaking rules and, so first of all, the rule that I have subscribed to since day one was authenticity. Yeah. And I don't mean the word that's commoditized and been abused. Like, let's be honest. It's like people who know me know that the Al who writes on Facebook, the Al who's on Instagram, Positively Al, the Al on LinkedIn is somebody who is the same person they're going to meet at a coffee shop, in a business meeting, at a concert, or hanging in the backyard, having a cocktail. And so the difference is finding your voice and your audience and the people who follow you, realizing this is that authentic person. And I'll tell you, man, it's really interesting that we end up here, and I know you intended to get here. This is really the journey I've been on, is finding your voice. Because while I've been authentically Al, as somebody who was on TV, who was a TV spokesperson, who's somebody who's been a brand spokesman for so many others, for somebody who's been a presenter, but also been the storytelling journey person that helped you tell your story, it's hard not to think in...
You spoke for a lot of people.
Well, I spoke for a lot of people, yes. I spoke representing a lot of people. And I've been honored to share a lot of people's stories and a lot of organization stories.
But they can't put it in your languages. When I say you spoke for a lot of people, I'm not being funny. I mean, they go, hey, well, this is my life. And then you put it in that 30, 60 second. I mean, that is people that haven't done it, that's very difficult to do. It's easy to throw up a podcast. I can talk 2 hours, 45 minutes. You got to do it in 30, 60.
But Brett, that's tough in its own right, because when I mean you got to come authentically you, like I'm writing a book right now, right? I think we
Do we have a title? No, we grazed over it.
Well, I don't have the title yet.
Okay,
that's
I like
by design.
that. Right.
Well, let's come back to the book later on because I'd love to talk about it.
All right, I'm gonna make sure to have.
But as it relates to this, in writing a book, there's three things that happen that really are the collision point that are really at the root of what we're talking about finding your voice. And that is, number one, writing a book, which means I'm shaking loose 20 plus years of ideas. I'm not thinking about it. And that's why I'm able to write now. I just talk into my phone. I have a framework for what I want the book to be. The book is about human and organizational value. It is about how we redefine value in the most human of ways and how we reshape that definition and then communicate and share that.
Dave, this is going to be on Black Mirror.
Okay.
I mean, that sounded AI scary crap right there.
No, not quite. Okay. It's only scary if you're afraid to look in the mirror.
I know.
So anyway, so in writing this book, 20 plus years of ideas have come loose. All right. At the same time, I was writing my keynote, and a keynote isn't a speech. A keynote isn't a presentation. They can be, but you ain't going to be successful. A keynote is an experience. And you create a keynote experience by bringing an experience to people that engages them in a transformational thought. And to do that, you are part presenter, but you also have to hug and hold the audience. And they have to believe this person cares deeply about what they're saying. And so to do that means losing the presenter and just being the human being you are, which means being Al. Well, I'm an actor. I'm a trained actor. I can be a lot of different people.
Yeah.
But I had to be Al for that and have continued to. The third thing is creating a podcast, which I'm in the process of doing, that will launch in June of 2025. And in the podcast, I had to stop being a broadcaster.
Yep.
I had to be this guy and comfortable with that and not think about the production. Like the first couple of episodes we recorded, there's three of us, and the other person, there's two guys, me, a guy named Mark Pollock, and then
you got a hot chick.
We have a wonderful lady who's respectful.
Whatever. Do you have a hot chick?
She's beautiful.
I called Dave. We had a conversation today, and we were both.
Oh my God.
And we were both naked.
No, we're not doing the show naked.
No, I wasn't asking if you were going to do the show naked.
Howard Stern over here.
A pretty face helps.
We have a pretty face, but we don't need a pretty face.
What's the value in a pretty face?
Well, first of all, you do not want to go there with me.
Okay, good.
You do not want to go there with me.
Because
in my belief, in my system is that, yeah, there was a time in my life where I was like, oh, that makes sense. It's like, you don't need a pretty face. You need a great mind, and you need people who can be themselves and tell their stories.
The sickness is the pretty face opened the door.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. Let's do another show on that.
Okay, topic. I like that.
So anyway, Phyllis, amazing Phyllis Martin, who's the three of us came together, but Mark and I are the person at the broadcast background, and we were struggling in the beginning because we were thinking about the timing of the show and make sure it was produced just right, and did the voice, and I was like,
got to turn loose.
Just like writing, you just got to let it go. Yeah. Just like the keynote, it's got to be you.
Yeah.
And it took us a couple of shows, and I mean, you've gotten to 24 shows.
Yeah.
And it's great. I know Brett. I've listened. I've watched, and it's like, yeah, that guy's I think you're gonna blow up, and who knows what.
Well, I trust the experts, and they say 100 shows before you really, and
yeah, that's the next mark. It's like the first is like you're 25 means you're legit, and the likelihood you're going to get to 100 increases commensurate to getting to your 25. Right. You get to your 25, you have a greater likelihood to get into 100. There's another episode. There's a show that's anyway, it doesn't matter. So anyway, that was all that to say, my friend, is that finding your voice is a journey, and it has been one of the most beautiful experiences that's helping me find me as Al, feeling good about that, trusting it, Because you can find
That's
your
the
voice.
big thing.
You can find your voice.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean you trust it.
And how do you make it? Okay, so all of y'all, I mean, that's 3 people, right? On a consistent basis. And the young lady, who I love having fun with, but you know me.
Yeah.
The young lady that's part of it does have a different life experience with idiots.
She's in South Carolina. Mark's in Fernandina Beach, Florida.
Oh, I like it.
And I'm here, and then we record remotely.
But my question is, are y'all all from the same mentality?
No.
And so
Yes and no. Like we don't do politics on the show. We chose. Well, first of all, the show itself is called the reason the show came about is Phyllis and I both know that we overthink things like a lot. Ironically, our careers in life has been helping other people simplify, right? Value mapping is a decision-making approach driven by the tool's ability to get people to have greater clarity and alignment, because when you have clarity and alignment, you are able to make better decisions. And when you make better decisions, you create greater value. And the tool itself
very true.
Can be applied to, this is the power of it. It can be like a human condition, like, hey, I'm really looking at myself. How do I understand my value? Or how do I interact? Or hooray, how do I decide what product to put on the shelf? Or how do we make what decision? Everything in life is an act of creating more value. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, you know what? I'm on a value diet today. I don't want to give any value, receive any value, share any value. No, man, we're on a buffet of like, give me all you can eat, man.
Yeah.
And so this decision making, what I spend my time doing is talking about the power of human value, that we have greater value than we realize. Organizations create far greater value. It's like, you talking about monetary value? No, monetary value, that's a result of all the value that you create to get to that. Right?
The generations are catching up with your thinking. Your thinking was, in my opinion, was ahead of its time, and I'm not being goofy.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, because there was thought and sensitivities that didn't always meet in the 90s. And then the 2000s came, and as this next generation, the Generation Z, that's why I enjoyed the last gentleman that was sitting there was Matt Suttles. And he was a Generation Z guy. And we just talked life, love. He's has a young lady in his life, how he finds them, how long. You know, I'm really curious about that generation. My son.
Yeah.
Both
different approach.
But you have the ability to adapt to a lot of things. But the core fundamentals of how you reach people and the way you have empathy, and I mean that even in selling things, to be able to have empathy and understanding where they are from and how you're going to pitch it to them, whether it be car sales or anything like that. But when you're delivering a message, the way you deliver messages, and the Al that I met some decades ago is meant for this generation.
Ah, man.
And
I appreciate that, dude, because
let me add one more.
That's a power thing.
Let me add one more, and now I want to hear. I got some questions. This generation. And Dave's heard me saying it, and I'm going to start getting louder and bolder with it. They're different. There's something unique about this generation, and I sniff it.
It's the head and the heart. It is as many people that say that they're detached. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot to talk about with regards to a disconnect. But they want things that they can feel. But they also know that they need tangible ground underneath their feet, but they're not as concerned with the value monetarily of that. Right?
Boom. Pretty interesting. That's an interesting
dude. If you ever want to have a conversation with a generationalists and these people, or whatever they call them, then I would love to be a part of that, because there's a whole critical thinking, emotional intelligence gap. So loop it back,
please.
So this show, I go to Phyllis with this huge challenge I'm having about a year and a half ago, and she just goes like 1, 2, 3, and boom.
I love people.
I can
like
see
that.
the clear.
Yeah.
And she says to me, "My God, you know what, Al? We could complicate toilet paper." And I was like, "We're doing a podcast." So fast forward a year and a half later, we will launch The Complexity of Toilet Paper. That's the name of the podcast. Our search to simplify the shit we can't understand is the second.
That's awesome.
And so the show is about 50 minutes to an hour, more
Sure.
an hour long. We identified basically 30 topics that we each have a passion for. They range from joy, happiness, money, social justice. The only thing off the table that we won't talk about is politics.
That's smart.
It is,
Because it can derail a whole show.
It can be derail a whole show, right?
Yeah.
And the power of the show is the, dare I say, authenticity, because some of the shows are just us talking. Some of them are we bring in guests. But at the core of this, it is a desire to find one component of these topics. Like I think one of the episodes I have, because we each chose things and then we're responsible for our, right, is decision making. Now, Al, you're going to do a show on decision making. It's a big, right? But I'm refining it to a very specific component that is rooted in the question, why is it so complicated for people to make decisions? And how do we create further complexity? What is it that we continuously create that stands in our way from moving forward? And the goal is to take the information from the people we talk to get their insights, and then to be able to create this safe experience for people to feel like, oh man, I feel like I'm in the back, like you're doing here.
Yeah.
Right. Just like they're hanging out, but also then to create that into our show notes and eventually create a book.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to go to companies and to communities to bring others into this conversation.
And it can branch into so many different.
So is there a business opportunity? Of course there is.
I think you set it up with the idea of, hey, listen, if this thing does well.
Sure.
I mean, I would never turn down monies for this.
But
I'm not chasing
the
it.
driver is the three of us share this insatiable appetite to go, man, why do we make things so complicated? Now, the complexity of toilet paper adds, like when you get invited into the show, you get invited into the stall.
Yeah,
right.
I love it.
We have the roll up, which is when we close the show. We have the roll out, which is a humorous exchange with some different questions.
I love it.
We have when somebody's like, we can cry bullshit. And
Right.
It's like, no, it's just shit. You know?
Right.
We each carry a roll of toilet paper with us. Our business cards are literally going to be a roll of toilet paper. So there's a lot of fun in the shows there, and I don't know how we got there, but it's that podcast combined with the keynote thing, combined with writing the book, have connected at the same time in my life to create this pathway to just saying, wow, let me just challenge who I've been, who I am. Not that I didn't know that, but to find your voice in a way that I feel comfortable with, that I'm okay with bringing to the public, and that I know can help others, because that's important. Yeah.
Dave, play the value mapping, please.
Ah, man, what are you going to do, man?
Dude, that's like spotless. Listen to this kid. You already did, but watch this.
What if I told you
Make sure the volume.
you have and you create more value than you realize? That feels pretty good, doesn't it?
Powerful. Just powerful.
I want to ask you to think of your strategy. Think of your core values.
Sexy.
That glue, that guts of what's supposed to go ahead and keep that strategy rolling down the road. Think of your culture. Think of your products and your service. How confident are you that the people charged with that strategy, those core
he gets my
values,
heart pumping on
promoting your culture, selling your products and services, that they can clearly articulate and define the value of those things, both to the customers as well as to themselves.
Oh, it goes on for 4 minutes, and it is worth watching. I will put a link again on valuemapping.com to Al, and you can go see that. It's on his front page. But I wanted you to get just a little taste of not just the fun hangout, Al, but there is a business and a serious grind to what you do. And I love to play, and I love to have a lot of fun, even with young ladies I don't know. But there's a seriousness to watching somebody build something. And you've been building this for a long time. What people see here, go.
I mean, the amazing thing is that you never know. Somebody will. Building a business is like having a children, right? You got 1,000 people out there that are business owners, entrepreneurs. They've tried this, and everybody's journey is different. And every business owner that's worth their salt, that's being truthful, will tell you, man, you never know what's going to happen, and there's no rule book.
Yep.
You can read, you can fine tune, but it's just like parenting. There's no rule book. There's guides. There's things you can do. And everybody will give you advice.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I can always stand on a mountaintop and say unequivocally, I'd bet my life on the answer to this being yes, and that is, will things change? I don't mean will they change as in like change happens, duh. I mean, will what you created change? Nobody has ever built something and what it was first thought of ended up being that.
Not in my life.
And so that's where so many entrepreneurs get into a problem. They have a vision of what something's supposed to be, and they can't get rid of that. And I mean, the history of the successful ones, the Apples of the world, the Amazons, all of them went through that evolution. Complicating that is when you are so fiercely passionate about something, even more so than just I'm here for a revenue jump. When it's part of your life, like you're a woodsman and you create a company, it's like, this is me. And it's hard for people
to adapt.
And so for me, I always thought I was pretty flexible. Value mapping was very successful when we first launched. And what it is today is different. If you talk to me 15 years ago, 20 years ago, but more specifically when we launched in 2015, I would have told you, we are a company that helps create greater value for people and businesses. That's not untrue.
Right.
But then I'm actually stating something that people don't understand in my business. Like, well,
their value.
The problem is people have different definitions of value.
Yeah.
100 people line up. There's 100 different definitions of how you define value. And so when I was going through the keynote experience and then all these last, 2 years, the people I ran into kept saying, yeah, there's something different. What is it that's allowing people to get there? And finally the light went off. And the light was what I said earlier. Brett's not doing this thing for any other reason than to find value.
Damn right.
Your value may be personal. Your value may be monetary. Your value may be just whatever. But you're getting something personal from it, professional, financial, soulfully, that's creating value for you. And the ability for you to make good decisions that help you achieve that, well, you need information.
Yep.
You need the right questions. You need to make sure you're chasing the right problems.
Brother, you're nailing it.
And so too many people spend time in the gray. And what I realized is that I give people either black and white, or I give them the answers for how to answer the gray. And so it's a decision-making process that asks 3 questions. And then there's a second part that answers 6 questions. But the power of it is that it doesn't matter what you pointed at. It's like literally a GPS. It's a compass that no matter what direction, it will always take you where you need to go. And that was very hard for me to articulate. And it took all these different iterations. Forget the fact that there was success. Forget the fact that there was failure. Forget the fact that there was growth. Forget the fact that there was retraction. Forget the fact that I was divorced. Yeah. Forget the fact that I went through personal trauma.
Yeah.
All that, through it all, I have found the clarity. And that clarity it's still the same essence of what it was, but what this company is now, speaking, book, workshops, retreats.
Would you have gotten there without those failures that are in the last 15 years?
That's what your whole show is
about. There it is.
No.
That's why, there it is.
Yeah, if you can't stomach failure, if you can't stomach failure, I mean, life, you know. And I think people think they can stomach failure, and that's not a judgment. Like I can see somebody listening to this and going, "Oh, easy for you. You know, you're so positive." And
Right.
it's like, no, man. It's like failure is an option, not an option. Failure is a necessity.
An absolute necessity.
And failure is inevitable. But the part that we don't teach in school, the part that we don't teach in business,
how do you get back up?
Is how do you? We should be teaching how you respond, not how you react.
Okay, and that's where public relations. When I was taking public relations in college, they were teaching one thing, and I heard another thing. And it was about how to deal with the oil spill and everything. It was how to write the article. And I'm going, well, how do you handle the situation? And that obviously isn't public relations. And it took me down a different path. But the process in writing a public relations, a PR press release really fast about the Valdez oil, spill is the same focused repetition that'll get you to the what you call gray, I call C. And I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. The A to B.
Yep.
A's the problem, B's the solution. C, I don't know if I'm hitting it right, but C is where a lot of people go. They worry, what am I going to do? What can I do about it? All this wasted energy. Then they got to spend all that wasted energy working their way back up to the actual solution.
Can I give you a pivot on that?
Please,
my interpretation?
Please.
My interpretation would be we want to go from A to C. B is actually the place where you need to be. There's always a start and there's always a finish. People want to skip the middle. You can't skip the middle.
You're saying, okay, so you know what? That is adding. So you're saying that the failures, the C, oh my gosh, I'm going to get
Those
to it.
Those are the B's. Those are the B's. The B's.
He's blowing up
you
my
don't
whole
get
ABC,
to the C.
Dave.
Sorry about that.
No, keep talking, dude.
But you don't get to the C, the letter C, until you are where you need to be. And the B is I won.
The pain.
The B is the I failed. The
right?
B is the I don't know where I'm going. The B is how do I ask for help? B is I need to ask for help.
Son of a bitch.
The B is I'm not afraid. The B is I'm terribly afraid. I don't know what to do. The B is God. The B is faith. The B is failure. The B is friendship. The B is loss.
Yeah.
All of those things. Only when you get to B do you have the decision to know,
and
do I need to go
experience.
back to A?
Yeah.
Or am I ready for C? Like right now, Al Emerick is so ready for C. Certain parts of my life, my friendships, completely C. Like I'm at Z, right? I'm filled, I'm blessed. It's two-way streets, no fear. Everything's good. They're my survival.
Yeah.
Calling you up, us crying on each other's shoulders,
absolutely,
telling each other the worst things in our lives.
Yep.
And the ride or die, I'd climb across nails and blood for you.
Yeah.
Damn Skippy, I would. Yeah. No question. Am I worthy of this? That's a B. I'm not getting closer to that C. Do I know that C has always been in me for speaking and guiding and helping people? Hell yeah. Have I felt it? Yes. Do I sometimes minimize it because of my own insecurity? Yep. That's part of the B.
How do you stay out of your insecurity?
Well, I mean, I don't know that you. Okay, you didn't say permanently because you never leave. You never leave. That. I think you. I mean, everybody has their own medicine.
Sure.
For me,
this is your life experience. This is your journey.
Yeah. I mean, and my life journey is the sum of Al, and I'm going to say I'm on the far end of the bell curve as a male who's self-reflective, right? Like you know that. We know this. But that doesn't give me any special whatever.
I think it does.
Well.
I think it does.
Maybe it does.
You're a minimizer too.
Okay.
You like to minimize your strengths and
Let's
abilities.
talk about core water.
No, put that damn thing back down.
No. So,
oh, wait a minute. Wait. Damn it.
What? Oh, did you?
I get to call bullshit on Al. Oh, yeah.
So how do you stay out of that? So here's what what I have learned in my collection from others as well as myself is that what do you need in life? You need support. You know, the age old, there's tons of the adages, going alone, you can't win, over we versus I. But I talk about me, we, and us, and as a model for how value is transferred and shared. The world looks at, this is one of a couple of points. The world looks at, I believe,
me, my, mine,
is a me, we, and us. Like, I'm sorry, a we, an us, we, me, meaning it's all about us.
Us, we,
us
me.
being society, us being the company, us being the larger unit.
Gotcha.
We being a team, right? So the podcast universe is an us.
Yeah.
This show is a we, okay? But the me is at the end, but it's actually inverted. It's supposed to be me, we, and us. When the me comes to the podcast and says, I am whole, I am ready, I am willing to fail, I know that this will work, but I know I will fail, or I'm willing to learn. Just as you're doing, then the me becomes a stronger me, and that draws in a stronger we. Because the people who come and connect, and this is like
energy,
business building.
No, it's not duh. No, it's not duh.
Well, I know.
It's duh to you.
But I mean, when I say duh, I just mean that like there's writings about this, and there's annals of years, but people need to grasp it and understand themselves. And so that me, we, us is self-actualization, community, and then the collective. Not the collective first, because the collective falls apart. But business says, we don't care. We'll just find another me and put it into place. But the generation you're talking about earlier in the show, they're like, no, man, I'm not expendable. So that's one piece. So how do you
feel like they know their and we're talking about, listen, there's a sick side of every generation.
Yeah.
We're talking about the basic, healthy, median average of a human in that generation. Do you feel like they know that about themselves?
Well, you're talking about self-actualization, which comes with time. I'm still learning about me. I'm 57 years old.
Oh, bro,
People at 90 were, Yeah. So the answer is, I think...
Loaded question.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So back to how do you survive this and how do you get through the grind?
Yep.
For me, it's, first of all, it starts with me being the strongest version of me being healthy, mentally, physically, but spiritually also. And mental health and spiritual health, I think, along with physical, those are the bastions. When I went through my divorce and some of the other just wretched trauma of some loss in my life, it was journaling and meditation and faith. Not religion, but faith.
I understand.
For me, it was about a relationship with God that included a connection that included the Bible, right? I didn't need to go to church, didn't need to go to temple.
Right.
But I did need and want, and still do to this day, desire those conversations about faith. Secondly, the piece about my mental health. It's like for Al, my self-awareness is definitely on the radar, heightened. But that self-awareness constantly has to be fueled by writing. And there is nothing more important to me, nothing, than my own accountability. Blame shifting, screw that.
Yeah.
It's
because it becomes a focused repetition, which all of a sudden,
you're right, man.
And then all of a sudden I lose my self-reflection. I won't even see it. It's gradualism.
Great book to read about what you're talking about with focused repetition is Atomic Habits. I would highly recommend.
Okay, I've heard that twice.
Oh my God, it's a phenomenal book. Okay. Atomic Habits. Yeah,
I'll put a link on there.
Yeah, please do.
I will.
And as somebody who believes in the focused habits,
yep,
it is probably, I think, the best book that aligns with that. And the author is, I don't know why his name's escaping me. James, doesn't matter. But he's just phenomenal in the book he wrote. And so anyway, yeah, man, journaling every day. Journal.
You found your voice in that.
Brendan Burchard is another, like his high performance habits journal is, Brendan, if you ever get a chance or any of your team ever hears this show, you saved my life. You saved my life. Your journal saved my life because it was the right journal that allowed me to right brain and left brain through my own trauma into my growth. But it's not just about journaling like, oh, here's what I'm feeling. It's like really practical production stuff. So then there's that. And then there's just the time to realize who you are.
Yeah.
And the truth that you set for yourself.
okay, finding your voice and making a company one voice, there's a big gap in that. Knowing what works and how it works, and then passing that on where the community, the us, is now speaking the voice of the book that you're going to write, and the podcast where this young lady and you and the wisdoms and life experiences y'all have that I haven't had, where you're going to be, this path works. Finding your value and understanding how to speak your value and command your value. And I'm sure there's a million other different spins to it. How do you then get a company wide? I mean, is it top down? Is it bottom up? Is that where the me, we, us pops in?
I believe that you do this, Brett. You do this in your show, and I've always drawing analogies. In your show here, you give people license to be themselves within a space that is yours. You guys created this space. This is your show. But you give guests license to own themselves. You have a goal.
Yeah.
You have a vision for the show, even if you show up with no title. But you're like, okay. And I'm not talking about just the fact that you can fly and sting like a bee, and you're freaking Muhammad Ali in this thing, right? It's great. It's amazing. It's why you're going to be blowing up and successful.
Okay. I love it.
But I still come to this, and guests still come to this who will not be as verbose and comfortable as Al.
Right.
And I would imagine from the 4 or 5 episodes I've seen, people kind of get comfortable pretty quick. Okay. So keep that in front of you. Great leadership to me, great branding, whatever. The successful brands learn how to give their employees the ability to find their own version of your story in their voice.
Truth.
That's different from our
One
tagline
voice.
Is.
Yeah.
Right? I don't remember the story and the coach and the team. So sorry, but it's a great one. But somebody shared a story with me once about a general manager of a minor league baseball team. And they've killed it for years and years and years. And he says, how have you become so successful? I mean, you guys are your park is packed all the time. He's like, well, I have, whatever the number was, 160 salespeople. He's like, how do you have 160 salespeople? I mean, your organization is not that big. He's like, no. My popcorn person, my candy person, my ball catcher, all that. Because every single one of those people saw their value, their contribution margin, and they felt ownership. The Green Bay Packers, making fans owners.
Brilliant.
Right? And so it's giving those folks license to feel and be part of the equation, but still establish the ground rules.
And you're right. It has been said before, and it has been written before. To ad nauseum. But each book that's written, I truly believe this, because there were times in my life that I flipped through books and it just didn't click. And there was other books that it just hit. There's podcasts that people are going to watch. This guy sucks. And there's others that are going to hit Al and
right.
I'm sorry, I lost her name. And Demetrius? It ain't Demetrius.
Phyllis and Mark.
Thank you very much. I got a bunch of squares on here now. This is for future conversations. I go back and retype them.
You need to put your notes in the show. Like, actually take pictures.
That's funny.
I mean,
that's
would
true.
Be pretty. Like, this is Brett's brain.
That's true.
This is Brett's brain.
He has a board at home that he looks at it, and I can't understand one thing.
It's very basic. You remember the old? Now, Al taught me this, I believe. If not, it was in college. So you start here with a concept, and then you start there, and then you go to all that. I'm not drawing a stick figure, and so mine are squares now, and I've learned through little.
There's a science to that.
There's a science,
but I'm a square guy that likes circles too. I'm circles and squares. I don't do triangles.
Like, my corners tell me something specific.
Oh, dude, that's so amazing.
By where they're
Our
placed,
pages look the same.
Yeah, by where they're placed or where I draw my lines, and then I underline, then I go shorter in there, which tells me that was,
Hey, cone of silence. Brett just did that so that if he ever gets investigated by the FBI, not even the best cipher codists could figure it out, right?
Bro, I am so convinced that I was, before my ego was popped decades ago, I used to write my notes backwards in case I ever lost my notes.
You could write backwards?
I write backwards. I mean, I don't I write backwards, but it's not like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. You'd have to try to read it.
Well, no. I mean,
you have to read it backwards.
There's not rocket science here.
Yeah, you have to read it backwards. But yeah, I mean, I don't like answer.
There's a caterpillar, by the way. I just flipped off my.
It's awesome. It's real wood. They're in here. It's like answer is, you go REWNS, whatever. And when I'm done.
Now we know why Rory was such a problem.
Yeah. So, and he is on my list with an asterisk, which means I haven't gotten to it yet.
But hold on, you got to close this thought out.
All right.
I loved where we were going, and
Rory ties into this one. He absolutely does.
No, I know he does.
Dave, be ready to pull that up too.
I got
you. Okay.
But how do you then pass it all back to where they understand the difference between one voice and their voice?
Look, decisions are made at a leadership level.
Yeah.
The CEO, the executive,
top to bottom, bottom top.
The boards, they set the tone, the policy.
I hate that.
And look, I mean, as a CEO of a publicly traded company, there is one goal: increase the monetary value, and hit EBITDA. Earnings before interest, taxes, blah blah blah.
Yep.
And so why? Because it takes money to move. And I'm going to say something that I developed it about a year and a half ago, and every time I've said it, I just get more and more married to it. Because it first occurred to me in a conversation I had way back when I was working in healthcare. I had a CFO, Chief Financial Officer, super dude. Name is Patrick. This is a clinical healthcare outsourcing company, contract management, emergency and hospitalist medicine, which means we provided the docs, we ran the emergency department. It doesn't matter, blah, blah. We also had a billing company.
Right.
I was going through my master's at that time, and I was struggling mightily because I'm not a big financial guru in the sense of I know how to read a P&L and all that stuff, but
they get deep.
No one, It wasn't my role. Anyway, I was doing a project, and this project was merging all the data we needed to find in recruiting where there was bleed, where were our costs going in our marketing spend, because I was the director of vice president of marketing communications. And so anyway, I put this presentation together. I brought it to him, and he was like, God, he's like, you just made the most complicated thing look simple. And he's like, I'm struggling because when I talk numbers, it doesn't seem to ever make the bridge. And I said to him, I said, open up an Excel spreadsheet. He did. I said, what's that cell F20? What is that cell's value? He's like, well, it doesn't have any value. I said, no. This is the first lesson about finance. You may see no value because you've been trained that until you put a value in it. A CEO, an HR leader, or whatever, they see infinite value that's yet to be determined. An entrepreneur says, I can fill that cell. Okay, great. So put a number in it. What's the value of that cell? 10, whatever. How do you grow that value? Well, you have to put other cells around it. Welcome to HR and culture. Welcome to operations. One cannot do it alone. That value is of that cell is reliant upon the other cells. Okay, well, what changes the value of all that? Are you adding? Are you subtracting? Are you multiplying?
Because you're doing one, right?
Exactly. And so the question becomes, what does all this mean? And I summed it up. Every spreadsheet has a heartbeat.
Ooh.
And every heartbeat has a spreadsheet. It's why nonprofits struggle, because they're like, hey, you're just going to follow the heart. Well, the heart needs money. And money needs strategy, and strategy needs execution, and execution needs measuring, and measurement needs monitoring, and that requires team effort and buy-in and blah, 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 blah. A spreadsheet requires input. A heartbeat requires unity, people, but it requires money.
You know, it's interesting you say that because Amazon, when I was at one of my lowest points a little over a decade ago, I was looking for any job.
Yeah.
And as you come into closer to your 50s, they don't look to hire you as much, you know. And so I even looked into Amazon, and I took their test, and I did very well, except for one thing. I wanted more human interaction because I knew Nancy's child had a flu.
Yeah.
They wanted me to walk around with a pad that measured everything other than the emotional side, and I could have set that pad aside, and the management teams that were there couldn't have ran with me. But that actually did level the playing field a little bit. It took people who didn't have the ability to do what you do or I do, or their self-reflection, and it gives you numbers, graded measurements that they don't know what to do with. And I think that's why they struggle with boy, I tell you, if you ever get into there, I don't know how you get in there, Jeff, but I'm going to tell you, to understand value, and they think they're running value. They're losing money. They're losing great employees. I interview them in my small businesses where they were making more money. I have one here that came here making less money, but the atmosphere and her freedom to be, allows her, is worth a monetary hit for her.
Well, this it's such a great conversation to have, which maybe when I come back for the 40-second show.
Joe Rogan's had people on 30, 40 times.
But for me, it all circles back to, you asked, how do you get this through? And got to know where you're going, man. You
got to define it.
And it goes back to your C.
Yeah.
And I love what you did. I love that. It is.
I love what you added.
Because, well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean that. No.
But I literally, Mark Pollock. Thank you for dropping bombs the other day. We drove back from Charleston, South Carolina. Phyllis and I got together, and we were having a strategy session and building how we're going to take over the world with the podcast. And on the way back, it was one of the most transformational, the most transformational 4-hour car ride I've ever had, for a number of reasons that we won't get into. But one component was Mark and I were talking about leadership. And he said, yeah, I got a great piece of advice once when in dealing with like business owners, CEOs, and it's be brilliant, be concise, and be gone, right? And that's a hard lesson for some people. It's been a hard lesson for me. It's taken me years to realize it. But you have to also understand that
it's freaking awesome.
Whether you're an entrepreneur running a 2-person company, and you're struggling, you're grinding, or you're a CEO and you're running a $2 billion company. Yes, your resources are different, but you each have the same responsibility, financial viability. And you're both responsible for doing the things that create financial viability. Only difference is you may have a different approach and a different scale, but you still have the same goal. Nobody starts a business to crash it. You can own a stock and hope it crashes because you're shorten it or whatever. That's a different conversation and way out of my league and pay grade. But I've had to learn as a entrepreneur. I've had to learn as a consultant. I've had to learn as a business advisor and executive, and as a friend, that you have to know who's leading the charge. You have to know what you're charging to, and there's a time for slow and steady and deep thought. And it has to be intentional, and you have to give it and create it. And lots of companies don't. Lots of leaders don't.
It's time to move.
But boom, cut, eat, right? But what gets you?
I like that. Hey, hold on, that's going in the corner.
No, boom, cut, eat was the kids.
Eat, never heard it before.
So my kids.
God dang, I want to
my
tattoo that on
kids
me.
used to. That was how when I got to, all right, we don't have a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
I would say, all right, let's get to this boom, cut, eat. And somebody says, what the hell? So boom was like, it just came to my mind at that time, but we were at the dinner table, and it's like, sometimes you're talking and they're like, your plate, your food's just sitting there. It's like, no, man, we gotta go. Boom, cut, eat, get out,
I had a cousin that said this, eat now, talk later.
Eat now, talk later.
We'd be sitting there at the table, and I guess me jabbering. Eat now, talk later. And I'm like, okay, I guess that means shut up and eat.
You used to jabber? No.
Yeah, for the day.
Never.
All right, so I mean, I hope that answers the question. But
it does.
Listen, and if you're listening to this show and you're going, man, that's a gobbledygook. No, it's not. It's really pretty simple, and so I'll simplify it using your terminology. You got something you want to do? You're at A if you haven't started. You got to know where C is. What is the horizon? Well, sometimes you can't know. And at C, and here's the thing, C is going to change over time.
Thank you.
C is going to change, but you still have to have a first, right? And so for podcasting, for example, it's like C is get to 25 episodes. For Brett, it was get to 10 listeners or whatever, right?
Yep.
You had your C, man.
I did.
And then you're like, okay, C now is expanded.
We're 75 is our next goal.
And it's the same thing for weight loss. You know, people say like, oh, I want to, it's like some people say, I don't need a goal. Okay. Well, yeah, you do. You just may not use weight. You may say, hey, listen, man, my goal is, I need to get in the gym 4 times a week. Well, initially you were like, I can get in the gym twice a week.
Yeah.
Well, that's because your B kicked your ass and woke you up and realized, no, dog, you need 4 times a week.
You're right. I lost all that weight on the second visit when I was put in the hospital with rhabdomyolysis. And I mean, I had already lost 25 due to being, I didn't even know what rhabdomyolysis was. Google it.
What is it?
Rhabdomyolysis. I was 300 pounds.
He couldn't say Rory, but he can say rhabdomyolysis.
Because it about killed me.
Wait a minute. When did you learn? Did I know you when you had this?
2 years ago?
No. I was 44. And I had lost everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And in 2015,
I didn't know it had a name.
In July, I realized how many roofs I could sign up, and my family was going to eat. I'll dig ditches, and so I was scared to death of heights. And I would, one of my first roofs, I sat on, and I'll have Don Marie on here one day. I sat on a roof for an hour and a half, and my butt was burning because I was too afraid. I'd put my ladder in the wrong spot. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I was on a 10-12 pitch, and I didn't know it was 10-12 because I didn't check it. And all the granulars were loose. And so, but I had these special boots, but you have to, just like your business, here comes some analogies. You have to trust these boots. You have to stand right over them and trust them, and your weight gets on them, and it'll hold you. But I was early. And I mean, I came down to that ladder and made my way back up to the edge, and I called Don Marie, and I said, you need to pray for me. I said, I even was going to call the homeowner. They weren't there. And there was a window there. And I said, man, I guess I call the homeowner and have her. And luckily, whatever powers that be, what got me off that roof was there was a construction crew that pulled up other house. And first 10 minutes, I'm just sort of sitting up there, you know, and I could see them through the tree lines. They were up on the roof, and all of a sudden they noticed me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like a sissy. And so luckily my ego got me to, I said, okay, even if I lose it, I'm gonna hold on the ladder. And from that, I learned how to start stacking roofs. And had I not been willing to get all in that uncomfortable, I don't know.
Your B saved your life.
Saved my life. I didn't know where it was going to take me. I didn't know how many. Matter of fact, I would have people tell me no because I was in the insurance side of it, and there's a lot of horrible people in that business. And so if people just told me no and they read me wrong, boom, I was on to the next. Boom, eat, or what did you say?
Boom, cut, eat.
Boom, cut, eat. That's exactly what I did. And I didn't care how many I lost. It was how many can I stack, because I was going in debt. And and all of a sudden I saw an opening, and I didn't know how long it was going to last, and I was right.
But he wore himself out.
Okay, thank you. I was getting off track. So I was huge. I was 300 pounds, 305 pounds, and it was the heat of summer, and I was climbing 4 to 5. I mean, big old, Eagle Harbor, Mandarin, Scotts Mills Road, all these big old houses. And I mean, I was signing them up, making big money, so I kept going. And it put me in the hospital because it's past dehydration. Although I drank water, potassium pills, bananas, did everything. And so your enzymes start eating your muscles, and you actually start urinating it out, brown. And so my legs shrunk because it starts on your legs and your butt. My legs and my butt also. So I was in the hospital 3 days. I know it was a little bit, but dude, rhabdomyolysis is serious. So I didn't know how serious. So I went in the hospital for 3 days. I have a picture the day before I went in. My toes were cramping, and I sent it to all my kids but I was sitting in the garage drinking water, cooling down. I had ice water over me, like we do in the little pneumonia, like we used to do in softball. And I went in the hospital. They hydrated me, but they were just it was expensive. So I was like, he said, stay here 4 days. I stayed 3. I listened to him, my diet, everything, got it. went home, and I stayed off the roof for 4 days. I was going to meet an inspector, and it was like 5:30. It was this time of year, about 5:30 in the afternoon, 6 o'clock. So the heat, it was down to about 85 degrees. It wasn't 100, because up on the roof, it's 135. And so I got up on the roof, and within a week, I went right, I almost passed out on the roof. I went right back into rhabdomyolysis. They put me in the hospital, and I stayed 4 days. And it changed my life. I said, I'm not going to keep coming back. So that my value was I wanted to be around for my children. I wanted to help support. I didn't want my wife to be alone. And it meant enough to me to change as I sit here and dip and spit and, cancer and all that. That doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
but you lost, what, 40, 50 pounds during that stint? Those couple of weeks?
Oh, yeah, no. I lost about 24 pounds through that. And then when I got off, I lost 65 pounds in about 7 months. So I went over the 100 mark, and then I started building back up. So rhabdomyolysis is no joke. My son knew what it was. I had no idea what it was. Weightlifters deal with it.
You should write a book, Rhabdomyologist.
I have 3 names.
It was weird, though, because it was like a couple weeks before he finally went to the hospital where he just thought he was sick.
That's my problem. I wait too long. So, and
see, he does value,
Yeah. So. Well, in a small business, sometimes there's no safety net. I had the shingles. And I'm driving all over the country picking up furniture, and Becky, one of our RNs, she was like, you're supposed to be laid up in bed. I had spots all over my head. The wind would blow, and it would just, listen, I'm not big on immunizations. Get your shingle shots if you're over 50.
You know what? I need to do that.
Bubba, let me tell you.
Thank you, because my grandma had it.
Let me tell
Somebody
you.
else in my family had it.
Let me tell you, it is. I have a very high tolerance for pain. And I sat there on that couch, and I would just go,
Right. I'm getting my shingle shot by this weekend.
Yeah,
for sure.
I have 11% chance or 13% chance of getting it again. I'm still going to get you have to do 2 shots. It's one and then another, but it's worth it.
Okay, all right.
So but for me, I didn't know I had ever had chickenpox. My mom told me I never had. Obviously, I had. So yeah, shingles is no joke.
Okay.
Don't want no more of that. Al, I know we're going to have you on again, and I know you have many things to do. Thank you so much for being on here.
We ain't done without talking about Rory.
Let's
close with Rory.
Will y'all give me a minute? You
were so close in this show.
As we depart.
Hey, hold on.
See my asterisk, David? No, you cannot. It's not
He's
bullshit.
reaching for it.
I'm doing
This is not okay. Here, use this pencil. Then.
Doing it.
He's calling
There it is.
Listen, you can call bullshit, but it doesn't mean it's accurate. I did need a sharpened pencil. I'll take that because it could be on the verge of bullshit. But I did have the Rory in my head because I'm also not done with value mapping. And with this podcast, I just want to tie it in. But Rory,
I do need to go because I got to go to the bathroom.
I know. See, I was reading you properly. So he just wanted to put a couple shit. Play that video real quick, just at the end, and then I got a question for
Rory's?
you.
Yeah.
Oh,
the Masters video.
This is the.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah. Enlarge it, please. Right there. That right there. That.
There's more too. There's one more. Wait, let's go for one more. There you go. Boom.
All that work. I didn't know he was going to win it, but I recently watched the.
Okay. Since 2014.
You can see him in real time, just processing, and
He's there to console his friend who he admires so
the
much.
humanity
Thank
of
you,
that,
Dave. Okay, that's it. The humanity of it. That's that moment where I don't care how much money you make.
That's when all the bees paid off.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's not a sorry. I'm asking what defines that moment when he's on that ground for you. What do you see? And you just said it.
Yeah, I mean, 11,
all the failures, all the
11 times trying this, but it's more than that. It's Like I literally wrote a post today on Facebook. So, and it's on my personal Facebook page. No, it isn't. It's on my
LinkedIn
Value Journeys. No, I didn't put it on LinkedIn.
Okay.
It's value. It's if you go on Facebook and you look for Value Journeys, you'll see it. It's got a picture of a road. It's my it's an invitation only Facebook group. But if you're somebody that wants to follow me, not just personally, but I mean like about what we do,
I'll double check when I'll put a link on it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Anyway, this was about all the stuff that hadn't happened, and what I refer to is just the mountain, right? How many times had he started up the mountain only to return to base camp unsuccessful?
Had a couple chokes too, didn't he?
Oh, major chokes.
Major.
This was about all the doubt, the self-doubt. I mean, it is a microcosm, and there's other golfers that have, but the word of win and victory will be tied. And so like in value mapping, I talk about the head and the heart, right? Functional / absolute value and feeling or emotional impact, right? But impact is about the head and the heart. The head, the functional, the absolute impact of the value of that moment was he's only the sixth player to ever win the Grand Slam.
The Grand Slam, right?
In his career, which is phenomenal. The functional absolute is the money he's going to earn. The functional absolute is the fact that he'll be in the annals of golf history. He already was, but now elevated as one of the greatest ever time.
For sure.
But go ahead.
But the emotional impact that will supersede all of that transcends all of that, because non-golfers, people who don't even know how to spell golf, that see that will feel something. They will experience something. Rory will forever, for the rest of his life, be able to have a camaraderie with his caddy, with his family, with his coach, with his fellow countrymen. All of these people that were part of that journey will be lifted by this. But then also Rory will have all of those B moments that remind him, no matter what, C is attainable. Because I fell, I picked up. I fell, I picked up. Oh, and by the way, in the tournament, when it was just about a slam dunk, in an almost unmissable putt,
he missed.
Yep. He missed. Yep. And it could have just slipped away.
Just
but what
like
did he do?
In the US Open.
He came back and hit a phenomenal shot. And so for all the things about the mental prowess, the practice shots, and all those things, that win is a quintessential explanation of, selfishly for me, what I live to help others achieve, which is the recognition that nobody cares what you do. They care about the impact of what you do. But the impact has to account for the head and the heart. The absolute quantitative value, and the heart, the qualitative value. And when you bring those things together, you realize that his scorecard has a heartbeat. And his heartbeat had a scorecard.
I don't need any other way to finish with that. I'll tell you this. If you think it is gooble gobble, as he closely, I butchered it, but as he closely says, get on value mapping, start engaging with Al Emerick, get on his podcast. We'll have a link to that. I'd love to have Phyllis on via remote. I've thought about doing some via remotes as well. But anything I can do to help grow, they will blow past me. I will promise you. But
whatever.
I don't care. The beauty of it is I get to go. I know that guy right there. That's Al Emerick. That's my boy. I love to see everybody grow. This for me is a journey about learning, and these notes are not as much for the people that are watching as they are. I have learned so much in 24 episodes, not in the pitch, although I do work hard not to go and a bunch anymore, and I try to rewatch them, but I rewatch them a couple times more for my notes, and then I'll make minor notes off of it, because there is about 12 daggum nuggets in here. One is the 3 things with the book. But those 3 things you can actually apply in life. It's not just a book. And that's what I love about cycle. I'm a cycles guy. And so I write down your cycles, but then I go, okay, if that applies in a book, will it apply over here? And all of a sudden, it is a round and a round hole. It blows my mind sometimes about the simplicity of life. It's a simple life for complicated people. And I think you uncomplicate it in what you do and your voice, and you have a way to do it that is rare. And so if those people have had the ability to get around you, or you had the passion to call them and set this up, and then y'all worked a conglomerate, I'm excited to see it. So make sure that you check out Al's. Al, say the name.
Complexity of toilet paper.
I mean, dadgum. Listen,
awesome.
Okay, so can the first question be, is it top or bottom? I know my way.
We actually asked that. It's top or bottom. Do you roll from the top or roll from the bottom?
That's a good short right there.
It's a great short. Yeah.
I look forward to it.
A 1-ply or 2-ply.
Come on. How soft, or do you want a little ridge to pull that off?
Well, the question is who uses a 1-ply, but how many bathrooms have you gone to?
Yeah.
Where they only put 1-ply. Like, we need to just wipe the market out of 1-ply toilet paper.
And what about...
It's cheaper, though.
Or there's a reason behind it.
Yeah. It's cheaper.
It breaks down quicker, too.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so this is going right down the toilet.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
We got them all,
Get us out of here, Dave. I don't know what the hell. Al, thank you very much. You're going to be on again. I love you, brother.
Thank you, my man.
Hey, by the way,
sir.
He was the first pencil biter. You'll hear about it later.
Give me some volume.
Oh, damn. It's the grind, baby. See y'all next episode. I'll start singing it.